3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to Grounds After Rounds.
Carrie Ann just texted me, whoa, Castro got fired?
She's on California time.
That's true.
They're just waiting.
Didn't it happen in California?
At the
They knew
Arizona.
before us.
Yeah. He's in California.
I'm not shocked.
Andy was like, oh my God, it's the biggest thing ever. I'm like, okay. No, I did not see this coming. I would have not said like
Castro's getting fired.
Oh
tomorrow.
yeah, God dang. But he's counterintuitive to everything the home office has been pushing towards.
Yeah.
He doesn't go to any of the sanctioned competitions. He doesn't want to talk to them about programming. He does not support the CrossFit Health Initiative openly on his Instagram.
He is still old school garage CrossFit.
Well,
and Rosa this is
corporate.
A legit corporate business now.
And also Castro's mission is to find the fittest man, woman, and team at the CrossFit Games. He sees the CrossFit Games stated as that is the mission. Sure. Yeah. We'll be inclusive. Sure. Yeah. For everyone. Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever. But no. Drive towards the finish line. And in a sense, I've always agreed with him on that. What Rosa wants to do is take something that in its scope will by itself limit the growth potential. Does that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in that, it will be unique. And in its uniqueness, it is not for everybody. Rosa wants it to be for everybody. Therefore, he will transition this thing, if he does it successfully, from something that was unique and self-regulatingly small to something that is infinitely scalable to as broad of an audience as possible.
Right.
And by doing that, he will water down the very things that made it unique.
Yeah.
That is not good. That is not bad. That is just the basics of scale.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean,
One of the in the NBA, isn't that what Glassman wanted to? Is like the games were
no.
Well, he didn't want like the games were becoming such a focus that he didn't want the games to be such a focus.
Gotcha.
Castro's games.
Yeah, but no. Glassman didn't want the media element of CrossFit to be focused on the games.
Gotcha.
So he decimated the media department because
to limit the exposure of the games being the focal point.
Exactly, because he didn't need the media to get the messaging out of the health initiative that he wanted to do. He didn't need the media team the way it was, as bloated as it was.
Right.
The games needed the media team to be as bloated as it was. If he hadn't been a dumbass and shot himself in the foot, and now it's 5 years later from him decimating the media team, the games would be currently being covered by all of those little third-party things that popped up. Rogue would have a totally different role. Morning Chalk Up would have a different role. You'd see 3 or 4 other grassroots entities that might have grown to cover the games.
Yeah.
The games would have still existed the way the games would have existed, but the ecosystem, the structure to promote the games would not be owned by CrossFit.
Right.
And he didn't want any of that.
Yeah.
The CrossFit media team's whole job would be to promote the CrossFit Health Initiative.
Yeah.
Is that was Glassman's vision.
Yeah.
Rosa came in and went and totally took it all back and is now building the world's
it can all be under one thing
because he changed the mission.
Yeah.
It's the world's leading platform of health, happiness, fun, and sport, or fit something.
You remember this? Yeah.
It's probably on, if anything, if they were smart, it would be on CrossFit's main page, but we shall see. The world's leading, I don't know. The world's leading yep, right there at the top. Welcome to CrossFit, though it's in white.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The world's leading platform for health, happiness, and performance.
Yeah.
Nothing in there says the sport of fitness, games, competition, health, happiness, and performance. So bye-bye, Dave. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Oh well, I will tell you, I took this nutrition course because I had to. It was a minimum requirement for my
how is it?
application. It's really fucking good. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of the ones pop up. I was like, oh, these seem really interesting.
Yeah, the nutrition.
Is that one of those like $30 ones or?
No, it was $120.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So this is like, I mean, it's so
it took, and I flew through it because I knew all of the stuff more or less. There was some of the micronutrient, macronutrient stuff that was like, I was like, oh, whoa, like vitamin B12 and vitamin K, and like, vitamin C, and like what they actually do, creatine, what it actually does to your body. Like there was legit questions on that.
Cool.
But it was worth it. It was a good one. So yeah.
Yeah, I like some of the stuff they're putting out. Cool. Let's get into it.
All right.
Cool.
3, 2, 1. Welcome.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, sorry. And I hit you really hard.
I know. I wasn't pushing and
got excited for the slapping of the hands. The slapping of the hands.
I don't think she pays attention when I do it, but I always, whenever Joy gives me a high five, I'm like, high 4.5, because she has the half pinky. And she never responds to it. And I was like, is she ignoring me or is she just not like paying attention to me? Which the latter sounds more like Joy.
I think it's probably a combination of both, that like she's conditioned or numbed to you, and so not picking up on the fact.
Yeah.
And she doesn't listen to the podcast, I don't think. So
yeah,
she'll never hear this explanation. But somebody, maybe Brian, Lounsbury, if you want to explain to her, Joy, when he says high 4.5,
high 4.5,
he's talking about your little nubby there.
I told you she gets 10% off manicures because she only has the 9. I love that she like negotiates that, or I'm probably more demands.
That's not a
no,
joke.
she seriously gets 10% off.
Wow.
Which I say negotiate, like she probably demands like, well, I'm not paying full price because you're only doing 9 and not 10. Yeah, she gets 10% off. Which is like, it makes like, how do you argue that, right? Like, I guess, but like
it's all the same. Like, it's not like I'm using 10% less chemicals.
Like, hold on, like, let me.
Yeah,
okay,
like it's not right. I'd be like, no, here's an extra lollipop.
Because it's still your whole hand. Like, it's not.
Right.
It's not about that. Like, they do all of this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I know.
She showed up. She showed up at like, what time was it? I don't know, 4:30, 4:45 yesterday, and she's like, I'm just gonna go row and go home. I'm not staying for the workout. I'm like, come on, Joy. Like, you can't keep doing this. Like, just hang out and we'll do it. And then, but I was like, I'm like, I'm not gonna twist her arm, whatever. And then she goes, or you can do personal training. I was like, I was outside shuffling. I was like, all right, fine. Let's go. We got 30 minutes. So anyway.
So was she wearing knee sleeves or wrist wraps or weight belts or elbow restraints or
none of the above? Joy wears none of the above.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know who does?
Who?
A lot of people.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Eric.
Myself included.
Yes, me too now. I am a convert. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, slightly shorter episode coming to you this week just because we don't know how to manage time well.
It's a weird week. It's an off week.
Yeah,
This is not our normal time.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe you're tired from sledding, so you only want to listen for 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't know.
I wish I went sledding.
Yeah. You guys didn't when she was all dressed up in those?
We went, so sledding was
cutest picture ever.
I mean, we don't even own it. We don't even own a sled. But Meg's like looking at these like toboggans. Like, they're straight up toboggans, right?
You're like
Rosebud. And I'm like,
it snows twice a year here.
Well, and she's like, she said she almost bought one for Christmas, and like the one person one is like $170. It's like, it must be made of like Nordic cherry or something. Like, I don't know.
Something, yeah.
And
yours is better Nordic cherry.
But she yeah, she's like, oh, it'd be so great, but like, we could pull them on it and she's like, but it doesn't snow that much, so maybe I shouldn't get it. Yeah. And of course, like, we had all the snow the first time, and I'm just like, yeah, it's it's
nice. What works great? A boogie board.
Well, so our neighbor had 2 of those like discs.
Yes.
And the little hill, it's right on the other side of the park. It's
spray a little pledge on there,
right? Or whatever Clark Griswold had. But, I mean, the hill, it's like it goes maybe like 7 feet, and it's not this huge like drop, but it was just enough that she was like, woo,
She
and she had a
would,
blast.
you would never use that toboggan.
We
We don't have hills big enough to get up enough speed to make it worth it. And the snow's here isn't thick enough. Like
it would just
and you just like hang out. So
like this
sweet idea.
This might have been a good snow for it, but how often do we get this?
And it only probably that first day, maybe into yesterday morning, because by the time midday yesterday came around, the boys were like, yeah, it's nothing. So they were ice skating at a friend's.
Yeah.
No, it's but anyway, talking about gear, we're talking about CrossFit gear.
Yes.
And all the accoutrements that we as CrossFitters love. So you got categories, so I don't have to come up off the top of my head.
So we'll go. And so I suggested like I want to be mindful of the way I say this. Not so it's here's these things that we see most common. There's a lot of other stuff
this comes off of our Christmas list too.
Right. Well, that's what I thought. So like, hey, did you get these things on your Christmas list? Cool. Here's why you don't actually need them. No, here's that. And I want to come at it as more like a, hey, if you got them, totally cool. But you may not necessarily need them, but be mindful of like, so let's like kick it off. So like, what was the first, I don't even remember what the first one is, but I know on the top of my head. So let's say gymnastics wraps.
Gymnastics wraps. Oh, like grips
for the grips.
The pull-up bar.
Yeah, the waddies and the bear complex stuff. So like if you got some of those for Christmas, awesome. You probably got them because you probably find yourself getting calluses and tearing, and it's like, I need these so I can be better at pull-ups. Cool. Awesome. So that's number one. Let's kick off there. Do you have a pair of those?
I do.
How often do you use them?
Every time we have pull-ups.
Use them every time?
Yeah.
Do you use them for those bar too?
Yes, I do. Use them for those bar. So I used to not, because I was of the belief that if your hands are that weak sauce and they rip every time you jump on the bar, get tougher hands and condition them. Because we used to I rode all through high school and college, and the first 2 or 3 weeks of the crew season you spent walking around like this because the blisters were popping and bleeding, and then became calluses that then were shaved. And by the time race season started for the season, your hands were conditioned and you were good to go. You never wore gloves rowing because you can't feather with them.
What is feather?
You come when you finish the stroke. This hand, I was a port rower, so this hand puts the oar, brings the oar out of the water. This hand feathers it, so the oar goes from like this to like this, so that you can recover, and then you feather it to for the catch.
Gotcha.
If you're wearing gloves, it doesn't work. So I was always of the mindset that we don't do enough pull-ups to worry about it, but I would still every now and then tear a hand or whatever. And then we were training for one open, and Andy was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I don't want to wear any of that crap. And he goes, "You're an idiot." He's like, "How often do you tear your hands?" I'm like, "I don't know, once or twice a month." And he's like, "How long does it take to heal?" I'm like, "Whatever." He's like, "Look, I get it. You don't like to wear them. What if you..."
Here's my garden gloves.
Well, so that right. In my plastic bag with his half drunk Diet Coke in the bag and his old Innovates. But what he said was, which totally made sense, because he did have grips and he had his gloves or whatever. But he goes, "Okay, let's say there's 75 pull-ups in the workout. When do you usually rip?" And I'm like, it's always like in the last 10 or 15. He goes, "Why?" I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "Because you've built up all of that pushing and all that strain against your hand. So they rip in the last like 10 or 15. Back that up. What if you wore grips for the first..." And he's like, "And then you rip, and what do you have to do? You got to tape them and put grips on to try and finish." It's like, switch it. Wear grips for the first 15 or 20 reps. And then as your hands get tired and you get the grip starts to get smoked, take the grips off and finish.
You just
the
saved
workout.
Yourself that.
Exactly. Yes, you're still going to get a little bit of wear and tear on your hands, but you have banked those protected reps early on. And I was like, that totally makes sense. And so that's what I do now. I start with the grips on, because you still have to do hand maintenance. You still have to shave your calluses.
That's one big thing. If you tear a lot, make sure you're taking care of your hands too. Like it's
but what it facilitates is, yes, and the initial complaint by most people is it makes it too hard to hold on to the bar. So like I said, when you keep ripping your hands, get tougher hands. Well, work on some grip strength. Dangle from the bar with them for a little bit. wear them when you're doing dumbbell work. You know what I mean? Get used to a thicker grip.
I'd say you should be able, like when we're doing like yesterday, when we're doing like the kipping, like the pull-up skill work, like the 4 to 5 minutes of pull-up skill work, like you should be able to do that without having to put your grips on. Because like,
yes,
because like you shouldn't, it's like you're not gonna go through the Bergner warm-up with chalk in your hands. Like it's an empty bar.
exactly.
Like, get through it.
So I like that devil's advocate back. I think they are a great piece of equipment. They save hands. They allow you to train another day, and they do limit the frequency of ripped hands.
Yeah.
But if you are getting out a box, getting out 6 bands, getting out grip, every time we say jump on a bar and dangle, you are not a functional human being.
Yeah.
Like, why are you doing CrossFit? Like, that's we need.
Does a lion put on gymnastic wraps before it hunts its prey?
Well, that was actually, it's a ready state program. Chuck Carswell was recently on one of the clips on .com about it.
Mm-hmm.
You should be in a ready state, meaning like you are ready to go, and jumping up and dangling from a 1.25 inch piece of steel
should just be something you can do.
Should be okay. Like,
and
if not, we need to address why not. Well, it really hurts my shoulder. When's the last time you went and saw a PT? Have you talked to your doctor about that? Like, where does it hurt? When does it hurt? Why does it hurt? Well, because I, eat 16 grams of added sugar in my coffee every morning, and I don't sleep more than 3 hours, and I, like, we're not gonna be able to
the pull-ups are the
fix
problem.
that here with pull-ups or those wrist straps.
Yeah.
So anyway, the wrist straps, I am a big fan. I think they should be in the, the bag inside of the bag inside of your bag.
Yeah.
So that when it's a Angie, 100 pull-ups, 100 push-ups,
nice high volume,
100 sit-ups, 100 air squats, then put your wrist straps on.
Did you use them so yesterday was total, 75 pull-ups?
I did it at home, so I did the sit-up version.
Gotcha.
I did not do
cool.
pull-ups. But I would have, yes.
That's why I'm not saying where I got this idea from, but Mr. Bosman. The dumbbell snatch.
Dumbbell snatches. Did you see my thumbs?
Oh, damn. That's from the dumbbell?
Oh, yeah. Every time. You don't get that when you do dumbbell
No.
snatches? We didn't do them yesterday. You shoveled.
But I've never gotten that from dumbbell.
Oh, really?
From a dumbbell. Oh, from the head of the dumbbell.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I've ever gotten that.
Yeah. One of us is doing it
At least
wrong.
if I say,
I'm going to say me if you don't get it.
I may have never noticed. I don't know. That's weird. I don't know.
I mean, it was 150 dumbbell snatches, so 75 on each arm.
That's a good, decent amount of volume.
Yeah, I get them every time. If
I'm
I
starting
haven't
to
done
pay
them
attention.
in a
I don't
while.
know. I just asked, if you get these on your finger, these little what look like blisters on right on the
It's
edge
just a
of your
rub.
thumb.
It's from the knuckle because you're holding the dumbbell. So when and then when the transition, so that back dumbbell head catches on the 50. Yeah,
I'm gonna pay attention now. I don't know if I do or not. But yeah, talking like hearing Adrian Bosman, who is a
gymnastics guy. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of it talks about too the way you grip the bar. Like a lot of people, if this is the bar, knuckles here, try to get that pseudo false grip, knuckles here, because
it will.
The movement should be here,
and
not as much here, and so limiting that friction. And then people say too, like one of our accessories being chalk. I guess we can lean into this one, chalk too, like being one of those like common gym accessories. Like 100%, there's a place for chalk, but also know like the more chalk you put on, the more friction you're creating, and you're like, you want to chalk like a maniac, you're going to tear.
I would say chalk is required probably at the beginning of the WOD. And maybe if it's really, really hot and sweaty out, you got to towel off
like
your hands
August
and re-chalk one more time. But if you're chalking every single time you're grabbing a barbell,
like 3
or the
come
bar,
down chalk.
Yeah,
3 come down.
You are not chalking for grip. You're chalking because you don't want to keep moving.
Yeah,
you might as well just sit down and grab a crossword puzzle. Like, I mean, seriously, like stop fucking chalking. Like I've videoed myself enough, and I've seen myself do it, and I've watched myself go to the chalk bucket, and I don't even remember going to the chalk bucket. And I go, oh my God, why the fuck am I going to the chalk bucket? That was the 16 seconds that I missed. Like,
it's right there, the chalk.
Right there. And it's because I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
And so, I'll get some chalk. You do not need water in the middle of a 13-minute WOD.
Yeah.
You do not need water in the middle of a 25-minute WOD. You're drinking that water because you don't want to move anymore.
Yeah.
just sit down and start doing a crossword puzzle.
Yeah.
It's a better use of your time.
I feel like we should have crossword puzzles here, just the grid ready.
Here you go.
So gymnastics grips, they do have a place, but know why you're using them. And like you said, like you might need a grip, you might need to work on your grip, but also save them. Like when you're doing the skill work, when you're practicing.
Yeah, work
keep 'em-
without them from
work
time to
without
time.
them. Yeah.
So can we switch to like knee sleeves?
Let's go for it.
So knee sleeves, same thing.
Yeah.
I ended up forgetting a bunch of stuff this morning, so I did not bring the right things in my backpack. Plus, I needed to get home and walk the dogs and stuff, so I didn't end up doing the WOD here. But I used I don't have my knee sleeves as an excuse. I could have done the entire workout as planned with there's some clean and front squat work and blah, blah, blah. And then in the end, it's what, 68, I think, or 63, 63, 165 pound back squats.
Come on, Jack.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw your total. You can do those.
I can do those without knee sleeves.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to.
Didn't want to.
And so I went home and I did what I needed to do, and then I did it in the
chilly
garage.
this morning.
It was
too, so
fun.
it's-
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like I started wearing knee sleeves consistently after the quarterfinals this last year,
Right.
when the pistols came up, and I've never worn them and never wore knee sleeves because I was like, what are you wearing those for? This dumb, like that is psychosomatic. And then Luis was like, you don't wear knee sleeves when you do pistols? I'm like, no. He's like, dude, put these on.
They're very
And I
nice.
put them on, and he goes, reduces the range. Like you still get full range of motion,
Right.
but it compresses and you get like a little,
You're like flexed the whole way through.
you get a
like
little
you
bounce
don't-
out of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. Now they are designed to warm up the synovial fluid and the tendons and the stuff around your knee. They don't provide any sort of lateral,
No,
you
it's
know,
not a knee brace.
right. And they have made a huge difference, not in the middle of the workout, but the second, third, fourth day. So I wear them for double unders. I wear them when I run. Anytime I'm flexing and extending my knee and putting it under either shear or jumping strain or squatting strain, I wear them because 2 days later, 3 days later, I'm not having trouble going up and down the stairs. To me, that's like, okay, if it's psychosomatic, fine. Unfortunately, they smell like cat piss and I should wash them more often.
That's why I stopped leaving mine here.
But-
I'd get the text at like 4:50 in the morning.
Yeah.
Eric, time to take your knee sleeves off and wash them. I just start throwing them in with the
Yeah.
towels.
I think I did that day. I think I did throw them in there for you.
But,
But anyway,
which I'm like, I remember the time he's like, he's absolutely right. But I don't smell them.
right.
Right,
You
like-
don't smell it. It's your own farts. You
Yeah.
don't smell your own farts.
Well, my
No.
farts smell great.
Me too. But yeah, so I'm a big fan of them. But like you just said, I also think it's hard to become a little bit of a crutch, and I should do more workouts or work towards not doing every workout with them.
Yeah.
Can I play a vice versa on or the
Yeah.
wrist wraps?
Yeah.
So the actual like
So I'll say real quick, like this knee sleeves, wrist wraps, and then lifting belt. I think all the three of these
Yes.
will kind of have the same message, but go ahead.
I have done some damage to this wrist. I know it is arthritic. I have documented MRI evidence of it. I've done damage to this thumb. If I try to do too much pressing, handstand push up or press, like strict pressing or receiving a jerk, and I know and you are actually supposed to
It's supposed to
receive
be
a
back.
jerk like this.
Mhm.
The second that happens, it is like red hot
Sharp.
razor blades coming through. I put wrist wraps on it, and what happens is the wrap takes the pressure to my hand there and supports
Yep.
the absence of the joint here.
Yep.
I don't need to wear it on this side,
Mhm.
but for the sake of it just would look weird, I do.
Yeah.
And I look at it as preventative
Right.
for something. I've done damage to this wrist as well, just not
Yeah.
as bad as this one. I generally will not do a workout like today's with the handstand push-ups without some sort of wrist wraps. I
Yeah.
won't do overhead pressing without some sort of wrist wraps, but I have started to where I don't warm up with them.
Yeah.
I don't do Bergner warm up. I don't do the barbell warm up.
Because you want to get the
I want to
juices
keep,
flowing. You
yes,
want
I
that
want
range
to
of
keep
motion.
working on that. But then when it comes to the gymnastics cert, when we
Mhm.
went to it, in warm up, I make my reps mechanically as sound as possible. So I move slowly, no load, and I do everything full range of motion perfectly, because I'm banking all of those good reps and range of motion, so that when the workout does come and maybe my reps are a little bit less awesome, whatever,
it's only
I'm going for
20
intensity.
questionable reps,
Right.
as opposed to 50
I'm
questionable
going
reps.
for intensity via speed and load, then knowing that I've banked the reps, and at some point those two curves meet in me improving my fitness and work capacity.
Yeah.
So that's where I think I put knee sleeves and wrist wraps in the same category.
Yeah.
I put weight belts and weightlifting shoes, personally for me, in a different category.
Yeah.
So I'll let you go, and then
I'll say the same thing
why.
with the knee sleeves and the I used to think about it, because when I played football my freshman year of high school, and I sprained it was one of those, like, I wonder if it would have been better to break it. It was like the sprain was so bad. Like, it was one of those, like, oh, you hear sprains, like, you'll be back in a couple of weeks, fine. It took me like 6 weeks to like start breaking,
Sprains are the worst.
because I couldn't cut on that foot. I couldn't bear weight. And I remember after that, always taking like a brace, like an ankle brace, just tightening it up. When I was practicing, like from the second I get to the gym, I put that ankle brace on and I go.
Yeah.
And I wear it all through practice, and I take it off and I do nothing. And then I've noticed, like, even now, like in particular, the range of motion is so tight because I never warmed up without it, because it was always like, well, I don't want to roll it, I don't want to sprain it. And now it's almost like it'd be that you sit in the same position for too long and everything tightens up, right?
Yeah.
It's exactly what happens if you use that same thing and you never work that full range. And so the knee sleeves, the wrist wrap is like, work that full range of motion. And I'm with
Without the
you, like,
support.
and I'll go to the point where it's like, we're doing like I'll do the same thing, like this wrist gets me, and like cleans and front squats, like once I start to feel that pain, then I'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
And so, and some days it takes longer to get there than others,
And that's
which is like cool. What I don't want to happen is it starts to be painful with an empty bar. And I'm like, well, now because I've always wrapped
had to
it
wear
up.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
Weightlifting shoes and weightlifting belts
Yeah.
are, to me, like cleats and helmets, or cleats and shoulder pads, or they are the equipment that are used specifically for the execution of a sport, of a specific sport. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like, so we Olympic weightlift, use the movements of Olympic weightlifting, use the movements of powerlifting to facilitate improved work capacity. Therefore, using a weight belt, a weight belt is designed to provide a forward bracing external to the body for the abdominal muscle to push against, to support your lower spine. That's it. You don't actually need a weight belt. You have skin and a bladder and a stomach and internal organs. To push against. You have a pelvic, at the top of your pelvis, and a pelvic floor to push against.
But it doesn't come in as cool designs as Two Foods belts do.
So a lot of people don't know how to activate that. So wearing a weight belt at low weights to practice bracing against something, and then taking the weight belt off and then putting it on and taking it off and putting it on, and using it in a variety of ways, so that when it becomes a 1 rep max attempt of a deadlift, a squat, or whatever, then yes, put on the weight belt, give yourself something to push against, and know that that was a 1 rep max, maybe once in a lifetime lift. If you're wearing a weight belt for anything sub, I would say 80%, you have not developed your midline support, and something is going to happen when you bend over and drop your keys in the parking lot in the middle of Giant, at the parking lot of Giant, and you're going to throw out your back because you have not learned to effectively brace as a ready state human being. Lifting shoes are the exact same thing, in my opinion. They're a great tool. They're used to lift your heel off the ground, so that you can get depth in the bottom of the squat with a good.
By lifting your heel, what does it shorten?
Your Achilles, and that is okay. When we are doing Olympic weightlifting, I'm not going to play football on a muddy field with Chuck Taylors. Put your goddamn cleats on. Right? Like, wear the equipment for the equipment. But if you only ever back squat, you only ever deadlift, you only ever power lift or Olympic lift in those lifters, what happens when it's Nancy? 15 overhead squats, 400-meter run. Good luck running in your lifters.
I'm gonna bike today. Yeah, no. If you're biking because you're wearing lifters.
Exactly. So those are wear them and know why you're wearing them. They're a piece of equipment to facilitate a very specific job. They're not support.
Right.
Lifters and Olympic weight belts.
That's why
knee sleeves and wrists are support.
Right.
Right. Like they are very, very specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
And they can be an everyday sort of thing.
Yeah.
We said trainer. Weight belts and lifters for a very specific reason.
Yeah. You could go your whole CrossFit career without ever having a pair of lifters.
I don't actually wear them anymore.
Yeah.
Even when we're going for heavy lifts, because I don't care what my 1 rep maxes are. And I don't train in them enough that when I do put them on, weight belts I have started wearing. Andy and I had this very long conversation and the whole like pushing it because I like to train with it from time to time to remind myself how to, like right now I'm not bracing. I'm sitting like a douchebag.
Can we get you a weight belt?
I should put the weight belt on and brace against it and sit the F up.
Yeah.
And so like I'm working on midline bracing better because we all age and start to get a little gooey and soft in the middle. And so
that's why I'm 100% with you. Like it's weight belts and I even like when we did the total, I used my belt for the deadlifts. I used it for the deadlift.
I did not this time. I said I wanted to try it all without.
Yeah.
And did I put it on I may have put it on for my last deadlift.
It's funny.
I can't remember.
For the squat, I'll tell you, for the squat, I didn't. I remember going down. I think I was at 3. I think I did 345. And I remember going down and thinking like, I don't know if I'm getting out of this. And I had to kind of like bounce out of it to get it up.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if my goal, I wanted to get like 355, 365, somewhere in there. 345. And I was like, I don't know if I have another one. And May goes, your face was purple. I was like, moving on. And but I didn't use the belt on that. Had I used the belt, because what happened was I lost that bracing at the bottom. So I had to, so it was like I had to bounce out of it, and my like butt came up, and it was like I 100% lost the bracing. Having a belt would have maybe gotten me another maybe 10 pounds or so, right?
Because it gave me something to push against.
The deadlift was one that's definitely was like, I really want to try to PR. If I only PR one, I was going to PR my total anyway, because I realized I hadn't done it since like 2019.
Oh, yeah.
I know I've done it since. So I was like,
your press has gotten so
I was like,
much
oh my
better,
gosh.
too.
And then I was like, I wanted to PR my deadlift. So I was like, I'm going to bring the belt, but I also made a note that I used a belt.
Right. That's
so
that's where the garbage in, garbage out on your notes. Take good notes and you have good idea of like what works for you as an athlete. And that's a belt is not back support.
No.
Like for the longest time, I was like, well, I don't understand why I'm wearing this on my back spine. Like,
and the belt did not go on until I was at like 90%.
But the thing about the belt is it does support your back when you wear it and use it correctly, because you're using it to push against something in the front that then supports.
It's not this magic thing that when you just like, okay, I got my belt on, so I'm not going to hurt my back now. No. It's a tool to help you. Like you are trying to press against the belt. It's not just there. Like it's not going to keep you from hurting your back, because you can still tweak your back.
I just find it interesting to watch the athletes at the games and how they use those tools. But we also forget that these are athletes who oftentimes when they're wearing this stuff and we see them, they're wearing them in the middle of workouts, are lifting loads that are they're lifting loads for reps while doing other things that are heavier than our 1 rep maxes. And it's the 9th workout they've done across 4 days. So they're wearing it because they have nothing left. And they're just instinct and bone and muscle holding together. And the only reason they're still moving is because they're so god dang stubborn and they want to win.
And that little bit will give you that extra.
It actually will.
It
so
will.
Never make a decision on your standard training protocol based on the anomaly of the best in the world doing something similar to what you're doing. This is somebody said this one time about like Michael Phelps. He's an outlier. You do not train.
Even for top swimmers, he's an outlier.
He's an outlier. Do not train and live your life like Michael Phelps, thinking you will also then, if you want to be an elite swimmer, no, like I guarantee you, he probably did the normal protocol that elite swimmers did for 15 years. And then it was determined, well, you're a freak of nature. You get to kind of do whatever.
Push it a little bit.
The 40 human beings, men and women who are at the CrossFit Games and are doing things, are freaks of nature.
They're the
Like
outliers,
they are the outliers. They're not freaks of nature. They're great human. I'm sure they're great human beings or, whatever. But from a fitness exercising for time standpoint, we should not base our standard daily activity based on what they do.
Yeah. And 100%.
Anyway,
So let's
we
like
definitely
go down
see
there.
eye to
So-
eye. There is no, I don't really feel like we have a, well, that's always, I remember initially when you were running the weightlifting class and like all the people who first started doing it, all of a sudden show up in normal classes and they're like, should I get my lifters on? We went with lifters on. And I was like, we've had this conversation. There's no way that he's, telling them like, you guys need to use
wear lifters
lifters every time you're doing Olympic lift. And so I started asking and I'm like, why are you? Well, because I mean, when we were doing the Olympic, Eric told me like, if I'm wearing my lifters, I can get down into the bottom of the hole. And then I'm like, how many lifts did you do that day? Oh, I meant like maybe 9 or 10. We're doing 68 in the warm up.
Yeah.
At about 5 to 10% of the load that you got to. Don't put your fucking lift.
I'll tell you, like when we did like the lifting class too, it's not like the warm up a lot of times is barefoot, like no shoes.
Yeah,
And
so
so
they
it's
can
like-
feel it. That's
yeah,
good.
like-
And you've modified it so like,
Yeah.
and that population has gotten much smarter and
Yeah.
more educated. They were always smart people.
Yeah.
They've been more experienced and they get the concept now. The question now is less about should I wear my lifters? It's do I have time to put them on now?
And that's what you, I feel like that's like you like it's like
That's
when
a great
when we,
question.
I think when we were doing the total or something, it was like warm up. If you're gonna wear lifters, don't put them on it. Like hang
Yet.
tight. I'll tell you when to
Yeah,
put them
yeah,
on.
yeah,
Yeah.
And that's a different question. But
Yeah.
initially, and so it was always,
Yeah.
I'm like, we've had this conversation. There's no way. And then I found I'm dug a little.
Out of context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they only heard what they wanted to hear because they spent $300 on those really cool effing shoes. And they're like, I'm gonna wear these mother effers as often as
It's
possible.
like hold off until the new ones come out and get the old ones for like 40.
Yeah.
I swear the lifters that I had, the gray ones back there, I got like $40 in an outlet and had them for like 5 years.
Yeah, well, you never need to really get new ones. They don't.
Yeah. The only thing that happened was, well, I was wearing them. I forget what happened, but I was like walking around them a lot and the bottom's like worn smooth. So like when I would try to like
Go forward.
twist and it's like my toes kept sliding. And then I finally got new lifters. I'm like,
Ah,
oh, there's that like torque I'm trying to. So yeah. So a lot of this.
Alright.
So yeah, short of it, all these things.
Chalk,
Gymnastics wraps, chalk,
grips,
wraps, belts, shoes.
knee-sleeve
Do you need them? Not necessarily.
Just your clubs, man. I wrote a blog
Yeah.
post about it. I think it was it's just Pat chapter
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
But the idea of watching on the tee all these grown men with like thousands of dollars worth of golf equipment and they shank that thing right into the woods
Yeah.
on the tee every single time, and I'd step up with my 5 iron, my 7 iron, my putter, and hit it just as far at
If you need
9 years old.
if you need your lifting shoes to get to the bottom of a squat, you need to spend some time working on the things that are getting
Yes.
to the bottom spot. If you need wrist wraps to press an empty bar, there's something going on that you need to take care of.
Right. And
And
if
so
you just
it's,
don't feel like you know what it is, you just don't feel like dealing with it, then yeah,
Whatever.
keep putting that Band-Aid on that gushing head wound.
Yeah.
And, call it a day.
Just don't leave a review on Google saying I got hurt doing CrossFit.
Right. No, you got hurt because you're dumb.
You got hurt. I try to tell you guys. So this
I'm
is very
talking about
much
myself, people.
yeah.
You're not dumb.
So say we
Listening
will
audience.
will not shame anyone for wearing those things because we use those things all the time.
Yes.
So it's knowing what you're using it for.
But then I mean that's the
I'll
what do we
take
do?
ibuprofen when I
Oh.
have a headache, but I know wholeheartedly it's like I'm taking this ibuprofen because I have to coach in an hour and I want this headache to go away now. I know that I didn't sleep well. I know I've not drank enough water, and I know I'm a little stressed.
we were playing street hockey up at my in-laws on their backyard.
Fun.
It was totally fun. Didn't have knee sleeves, didn't have wrist wrap, was wearing blue jeans and blue jeans. Oh my god, I'm a mother now. Was wearing jeans.
River and blue
Yeah.
jeans. Yeah.
Those are some nice blue jeans you have on. How about that? Wow, he really fills out a pair of slacks. Anyway, I was wearing pants and shoes, and you know what I mean. I was in my street clothes, playing some street hockey.
Did you clean up before supper?
And it was going great. It was super slick because it was a little wet up there, and they had the black moss all over the court. And I felt my knee, like I went, because of course Matt and I were on a team. Josh and Nicole's cousin were on a
Nice.
team.
Take Matt.
Ton of fun,
Good call.
of course. And he really carried our team because I was totally in it. And we were like, he and I were doing great. And I made a cut and I went dunk dunk. And I was just like, ooh, didn't hurt it, whatever. But like,
You're very aware.
I was very aware. And I'm like, huh. So I had to go from like playing 100% to playing like 85%.
Yeah.
And what that meant was I wasn't always in position for Matt to pass it to.
Yeah.
Sometimes I was a little slow on the take. You know what? Like it was.
Did you PR your?
I
street hockey,
PR'd
though?
I PR'd my wrist shot, got a goal.
There you
Matt
go.
got a goal. We ended up losing 3-2. But to me, that's a testament to, and we played for a solid 45 minutes, hour. And I was fine. You know what I mean? Like, and then shoveling the snow this week, I was fine. You know what? No wrist wraps, no knee sleeves, no weight belts, no gloves, no grips, right? Didn't throw my back out. Was fine. Functionally ready state human being that can do what I want in the world and work out. And I should have done the workout in class this morning without all the other stuff.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel like it. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I would say that's the goal that all of us should be striving to, not.
Don't be dependent on those things.
Yeah.
To do the things you need to do.
And not the artificial number of a PR or a 1 rep max or, you know, a lifetime best in something. Because
there's a reason we only do them every once in a while.
Like, show me all the variables. Did you log all the variables that were happening that day when you did that time, that score?
Yeah.
And if you didn't, and you don't, and we can't replicate it exactly as it was then, you're not comparing the same thing.
Yeah.
But if you do it, and you're within a reasonable time, reasonable loading, reasonable performance, it's the time before, you're fucking fit, man.
Yeah.
Like, good job.
All right.
Well done. Keep at it. See you next year.
Stuff works. Go play street hockey.
Yeah, go play some street hockey.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my take.
It's funny hearing you say that. It's, you know, playing street hockey and like you're doing the thing that you want to do and you felt fine. Even though you felt your knee like backed off, cool. And it's maybe, I don't know what made me think of it, but it's like I'm on some of these like new dad Facebook groups that I originally got on, like when we were pregnant with Fiona. I was like, all right, here's some like groups of like maybe people know what they're talking about. And a lot of it is just like I
unfollowed
because I'm like, there's so much more, like none of it was really useful. But this one guy recently posted like he has a baby and he's like, I threw my back out lifting my baby and I was like, it really hurts, I need a quick fix, you know, what do you guys suggest? And I never comment on these things ever, but I just want to be like, go do CrossFit, dude. Like you obviously don't know how to lift a baby without hurting your back. Not shaming you, but obviously like if
Did you really write all that?
No.
Oh,
I said I would never do that. In my head, I'm like, go do CrossFit, brother. Like learn how to lift a baby without throwing out your back because it's gonna get worse.
I mean, I brace if I'm like bending over to pick up the dog food.
Oh yeah.
Or like,
you better believe when I move a couch, I'm setting up like I'm about to lift.
Like I was carrying the groceries out at Giant, swimming and got some stuff at Giant today.
Like, you find yourself like you set your shoulders.
I did. I took them out of the cart, took them all into one hand, kind of let them come down, put the cart in and like put it in there. And then I put them down, shifting hands. Yeah. And I freaking farmer carried them out to the car, like over. And again, did I have to? Probably not. But I'd like to practice the right positioning and movement at all times.
Did you farmer
Except
carry
when I'm sitting
them?
in this chair like a douchebag.
Did you farmer carry them like this?
What is that? That's recently?
This is I think this was this New Year's Day? There's Big Joe Leonard.
Are those
a couple of geese? Yeah.
That is the cool. Joe is so effing cool.
Right. So
all right, I had a gratitude, but you were my gratitude, by the way.
Thanks.
And you still are my gratitude. And I'll say you are my gratitude for showing me that picture of Joe, who is now also my gratitude. That is the coolest thing. Joe, right? You are cool as my friend.
Well, who originally damn it, where is it? Ken and Luis. So it's funny, Ken. I think we told you Ken and Luis were sending me like they love just trying to send me like jokes now, which I said it's not even like you're not even like trying to get me to answer a joke. It's more like trivia or like a quiz now. It's like, does Eric know the answer to this one?
Yeah.
But they were showing me, I think it was like New Year's Day. But Joe brought those geese and then I can't find it. They were they cooked them up. Yeah, they like cleaned them, cooked them. Damn, where is it? Anyway, but yeah, they cleaned them, cooked them, all that good stuff.
I don't know. I mean, like, I'm so surprised because I'm so suburban. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so removed from that aspect of our lives as human beings. And I just think that's awesome.
It was so
how
cool.
and he shot him? Like he went.
I think he
went
did.
goose
Yeah.
hunting?
Like, I think that was all. Yeah, I think that was all him.
Oh, I gotta talk to him
I wish I
about
could
that.
find those pictures. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, they sent me.
I'm imagining it.
Yeah, but he sent me the pictures of that. But then they also sent me the pictures that they cleaned them, and what they're going to use. Like, they're going to make pate, and they're going to make all this stuff. I mean, they used the whole goose.
Yeah.
Right. But I saw that and I was like, oh, I texted you. I was like, can I use this picture like down the line for like something? And
because he's carrying it beautifully. By the way,
I mean,
dude, great farmer carry.
I get the vibe. Those aren't 5-pound geese.
Not even it. I mean, they're awkward and whatever. Like, but still, his positioning, his shoulders are back. He's tall. I mean, he looks fucking badass.
Yeah, practice your movement even when you're not in the gym.
Joe goes on the stop by his house and see if he's alive on zombie apocalypse day. Like make sure
we go to Joe's house.
All right. I mean, John was kind of like at the top as mayor.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's sort of like our
Rick Grimes.
He's yeah. And if he makes it, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because it's in all those things, not to get too dark, but it's all a crapshoot. You know, and like you could have your whole basement full of weapons and stocked supplies and stuff, but random biter gets you in the neck. Like, sorry, man.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah.
So if you make it those first 72 to 96 hours, okay. Now we got to start talking about, like, do you know whose house has all the guns? Do you have an awareness of where the RV is? Yes. Did you get a chance to go have dinner at that person's house and scope out where they keep the RV key? Like, those sorts of things are probably better knowledge than having the things.
Yeah.
Because I don't own an RV anymore and I don't have a gun.
That's why I don't own a boat. I just have friends with boats.
But I know where everybody's stuff is. So, folks, if I make it in those first 96, Joe just made the list. We'll swing by your house, buddy.
Hope you're still there.
That's right.
Or
then
not.
we're heading to Princeton because I always promised my sister I'd come get her.
There you go. Cool.
We'll skip DC though. We'll come up through the mountain. We'll come up through the New York mountain.
Yeah, DC will be a mess. Don't go through DC. If anything, that might be like the epicenter. That's like ground zero.
Yeah, actually, it's so funny. We used to Brooks. That's the second reference to Brooks Word, man.
I know.
Shout out to you, man.
Brooks.
Hope he's somewhere where you are in the world. But we always used to joke, him, Camley, me, DRT, and like, you'd think like Brooks would have been like the peace and the love and like whatever. He'd be like, nah. He's like, the biggest problem is people. You got to get as far away from other people as possible. Like, yeah, we suck. We're the worst. I'm like, Brooks. Aren't you? And he goes, I love us, but we're the worst.
Oh, he's seen how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
He knows, right? He knows.
Yeah. So that's, you got to get as far away from people as possible.
Yeah. Cool. Well, my gratitude is Coach Sophia Mikulski-Cooper. Yeah, I was
a hoss.
Yeah, like I came down yesterday and she's out there like shoveling out the parking lot, and I was just like, man. And she's just like, yeah, I worked out earlier, saw it was a little icy, and she's like, I was like, I don't really have anything else to do, and she just came out and shoveled. And she got like a lot. Yeah, that ice is thick, and she was like chipping away at that.
So a little peek behind the curtain, folks.
Yeah,
you need to love Soph the most because I came down and I looked at it, and I'm like, yeah, I guess we could shovel this out. And I went, people are going to drive on it, and then it's going to get warm and it'll melt, and just wear boots and change in the damn room. And so that's what I texted him, and I called you. I don't even remember. And I just said, and Eric was like, well, if I get a chance, I will shovel. So he at least.
Well, no, I don't even own a shovel.
True. But you did at least offer, you did at least consider. I didn't even consider it. He at least considered it. Soph did it. So, like, on the spectrum of people who have your best interest in mind,
Soph does. Soph does. I said, I was like, I felt, I know it was the right move. I know it was the right move for us. I know it was the right move for the gym. I knew it was like
shovel?
No, just even close, right? Whenever we close,
dude, it was a mess. I wouldn't have been able to make it here. We had trees now. I couldn't get out of our neighborhood.
I say you can get in a neighborhood, and it's like I couldn't even get the car out. Like,
yeah,
and it was
like a bad snow.
The roads still suck.
Interrupting. I'm sorry.
That's fine. The roads still suck.
It's more or less melted now.
Well, I mean, it's not even the main roads. Like, even just like going through my neighborhood, it's still like it's still a mess.
Yeah, this was a lot of snow. Somebody said something about it too. You or somebody about like it was just rain at like 6:30 or 7, and then Oh, you texted
Well, I
me
was
too.
texting you. I looked outside. I was like, it looks like rain and
Folks,
stuff. Might be a little
I
slick.
think that I did the workout at home. What was Mondays?
Monday was the squat.
Oh,
clean
no, I
and
did it
jerk.
with Mike at 5 a.m. Right.
you go.
Which I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't done it with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like, all right, well, I'll swing by. I'll drive out at 9 just to look.
Mhm.
And that was when I was like,
I can't even get out.
I almost
yeah.
didn't make it to Giant.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, that was okay.
that was at 9:01, 9:02.
Okay.
Turned around at the Giant parking lot, got back. That texted you before that and was like, dude,
No.
bad idea. Because by the time it was 10:45 and I walked back outside, my car had like another 2.5, 3 inches of snow on it.
It was crazy.
So people might have been able to get there at the 9:30.
Yeah.
We would have had trouble getting out of the marina parking lot by 10:30,
Yeah.
10:45. So I was very comfortable. And then yesterday morning was a wreck. Still, I tried to walk the dogs. It said I tried to make it down, could not make it through past Powell Park.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a weird and I'm from colder climates.
Yeah.
But Kelly made a very good point. She's like, yeah, but you haven't lived there in a long time, so you don't really know how to drive in snow.
And it's also the fair people like, when people see like, oh, Maryland got all that snow, sissy southern states don't know what to do. Like, it's also the infrastructure. Like,
yeah, then we don't do
we're
it. We're
like-
not practiced.
like we like this is like
Ooh.
this might be the only big snow we get all year.
Matt, we were driving, get his wrist looked at for the final review,
Mhm.
whatever. And he was like, it's interesting. He said, I'm curious to see what they do with all the snow. Cause here they just push it
all
off to the side. He said, when they went up to Quebec, they stopped when the first Canadian city they got into, they stopped for food at a McDonald's or whatever. And he said, there was just like a 15-foot mountain of snow. And you look around at all the parking lots because up there it doesn't melt. So they backhoe it into dump trucks
Mhm.
and then dump it in parking
That's what they
lots.
did at Blizzard a few years ago, where
Right.
like DC was shut down.
So
and, yeah,
the know-how, the infrastructure, and the equipment, we are not positioned. I don't own a really good shovel anymore. And I was almost tempted to go buy one because we were shoveling out. I'm like, we should really get a shovel. And all of a sudden, and now I'm like, I don't really need one.
I do this every year when it snows because I was thinking all I need is shovels to shovel out my car, right? But it's like and it's like once a year maybe.
Yeah.
Normally, like
And
it
I'm gonna
snows enough
lose
and
it. I'm gonna
melts
lose
the
it by the
next
time.
day.
I'm gonna lose it by next year. And
But I'm
I'm
not
gonna
gonna
be
live in a condo with like 2 kids now. Like I don't have room for a damn shovel.
like,
I don't have room for the horse that Fee got. Like she has a giraffe that's this big, and then like Tony gave us a horse that's this big,
that's awesome.
and Everett's this big. And I'm like,
So in
So anyway.
summary, Soph, you're awesome.
Soph, you're awesome.
Joe, you are getting to the top of my list of need you for a zombie apocalypse because you can kill and cook geese.
He makes such good food.
Yeah, he
too.
does. And your brisket and whatever that short rib thing is.
I want to find Luis and Joe just so I can eat well my last few days that I won't survive.
I'll tell you
during
what,
apocalypse.
if I'm turned into the zombie and you can still eat us,
Cook me,
I would
please.
hope you would cook me and enjoy me. That got a little dark.
You're that Joe and Luis, you can eat us.
I love my friend Eric. He is awesome. Wear your wrist wraps and knee sleeves if it causes you to move better and do it with less pain.
Mhm.
Don't be attached to your other stuff unless you know why you're using it.
Truth.
And welcome to On the Creek. Grounds After Rounds. We'll
Yeah.
see you.
On the creek.
Yeah, I wrapped it all around.
That was
It
beautiful.
good.
Nice job. Land the plane.